The HBCU First Look Film Let's Talk series is touring historically Black colleges and bringing experienced Hollywood film and TV executives, producers, directors, writers, content creators, and influencers for informative conversations on how to build a career in entertainment. We're looking for the next Spike Lee, Ruth Carter, Will Packer, hailing from the HBCU community. Are you the next? Get ready for an inspiring, empowering, and enlightening conversation. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. On this episode, we're partnering with the Black Woman Film Network in Atlanta for the screening premiere of Kimba, directed by Kelly Colley. In this episode, we hear from the criminal justice advocate herself, Kimba Smith-Cardia, as she shares her journey and the work she's doing today as an advocate for others. It's the HBCU First Look Film, Let's Talk, heading to the big screen. A talk back with Kimba Smith-Cardia, moderated by Tona Boyd from the HBCU First Look Film Festival Tour.
Taking you back to the beginning, before all this happened.
I wasn't even allowed to date until I was 18.
Come on, Kimba.
I don't fit in. By the time I got to Hampton, I couldn't wait to break free. I met Khalif. The world stopped.
So beautiful.
Hey, Kimba, you should start thinking about picking a major.
You should listen to your father, Kimba. I love you, Kimba.
I love you too.
It's nothing.
Kimba,
Dad, what are you doing here?
there are bounty hunters calling our house, looking for Khalif.
They better not say nothing.
They wouldn't do anything like that.
You don't know what they were doing. You don't understand. I know where they live, Kimba.
We don't want you. We want Khalif.
I don't know where he is.
If you cooperate, we can help you out.
You should listen to him.
I never dealt any drugs, but this says I did.
If you sign the plea deal, at most you'll serve 24 months.
By mandatory sentencing guideline, the defendant is to be committed for a term of 294 months.
Kimba didn't handle, use, or sell any of the drugs. They treated the girlfriend like the kingpin.
I want my daughter out of there, and I want her home.
She got caught up in the war on drugs.
They denied the appeal.
It's a fight they want, it's a fight they're gonna get. These ladies will help raise awareness of the case.
This is my story, too.
Keep your head up.
The president needs to release her now.
I don't want this to be the end of my story.
Thank you all so much for coming tonight, because you all are what helped make this movie be beautiful. And I know for the longest we wanted to have a screening here in Atlanta, and trust and believe if Kelly Colley could be here, she would be here. We carry you all with us in our heart, and we're still pushing this movie, and grateful to LDF and Black Women in Film and HBCU First Look Film Festival for having us here this evening. So thank you so very much.
So Kimba, thank you so much for so powerfully sharing your story through this film. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to bring the film to life?
Oh, wow. It was like a full circle moment, because I dreamt about it, while I was in prison, because there were actually producers that wrote me letters after the Merge Act article came out about potentially working with my parents to do a movie. But being back here in Atlanta, where the film was actually shot, and I was on set virtually every day. I'm executive producer on the film, so it was really surreal for me to, come first day on set and see trucks with my name on it, and, be on a prison yard, jail yard shooting the film. But I was nervous. I had anxiety. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. Again, that's why I'm so grateful to the cast and crew, because it was a beautiful experience. I learned a lot through the process. What do they call it? the first looks that you get after, what do they call it? The dailies. It was beautiful, you know, but what a lot of people don't know is that a lot was cut from the film. But I was just grateful to be able to be a part of the process, and that my parents aren't here, but I have to acknowledge them. They are the true heroes to the story. The cast and crew had a chance to see my parents on set. They were giving notes to the director and the talent that played them. So it was really surreal, like, to see my parents and my daughter on set and their commitment to the story. But again, what you stated earlier, you know, to watch and relive this and go through this. Ever since I've been out, I've been sharing the story. I have, you know, my book, Poster Child. Now we have this film, but it hasn't been about me just telling my story. It's about the people that could be impact on the front part as far as preventing young people from going into prison, and then also helping to change policy and change the laws. And I'll talk more about some of the impact campaign.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit hbcufirstlook.com.
I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles.
I know.
It's time for a new relationship with your skincare. It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
I don't know.
Could you at least tell us what you're looking for?
Peter Hall, also known as Khalif Hall.
Well, he certainly isn't in a dresser drawer, that's for sure.
Do you know his whereabouts?
No, sir, we do not.
The new movie, Kimba, tells the true story of Kimba Smith, a college student sentenced to 24 years in prison for her boyfriend's crimes in a case that gripped the nation. She never dealt or handled drugs, but received an outrageous sentence, placing her in the middle of the war on drugs. Joining us now is the woman behind the story, Kimba Smith, Pradia, as well as the film's director, Kelly Colley. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and I know many of our viewers remember when all of this happened here in our country. I certainly do as well.
You mentioned just a moment ago that there were aspects of your story that didn't make it into the film. Can you share some of what you had hoped would make it in and didn't make it in?
There was a lot more introduction with my family, makeup to, you know, help bring the audience in to my relationship with my parents. There were several characters that couldn't get written into the script because there's only a certain amount of budget. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, like, she was a strong supporter of bringing me home. my friend, family. I consider her family. She's here, Tamani Wilson, but when she was a student here on Spelman's campus, she was, free Kimba Smith before I came out, but her mom actually was the therapist that actually met with me when I first turned myself in. And I was fortunate to be able to spend some time with her earlier today, even though she couldn't make it here. But, I think those are some of the parts that I thought would have been important, because I definitely feel like therapy and counseling is taboo in our community. But we were able to get some parts of that in because I felt as if the domestic violence piece was a very important piece. There was a whole character that got cut out, a previous boyfriend that was a part of the film that helped you understand more of the characters and development of the characters. But again, Kelly and the producers, Moving Pictures Institute, they did a good job, bringing it all together so that it all made sense, because that's what was important for me. It needed to all make sense. I didn't want to come across looking crazy. I wanted people to understand how I could get involved with someone like that. But yeah.
I've never felt a love and a chemistry and a work ethic and a care in every single department. And I am just so grateful, and I would work with every single one of you in a heartbeat. I feel so honored to have met you all, to have worked with you all, to have been blessed by your presence, and I am just beyond grateful. And for this to be my first time in Atlanta directing, you guys have set the precedence. I gotta move here now.
So one of the things that was so wrenching about the film were the many different ways in which the criminal legal system failed you. And one of those was through the initial representation that you had. So I was hoping you could share with us a little bit about what it was like when the Legal Defense Fund and Elaine Jones and Ted Shaw got involved in your case, and how that changed the trajectory of your case.
Yeah, so I didn't look at these questions in advance, by the way. LDF, we were at a very, I don't want to say we lost hope. We never really lost hope because we had faith in God and what He could do. But my parents had pretty much exhausted all of their savings. And so in doing the Emerge article, I was hesitant because I was fearful that our community would be judgmental of me and my choices. But when Elaine Jones read the article, and she actually reached out after that, but it was a miracle in my eyes then to get the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, this civil rights giant with our legendary heroes in the civil rights movement, to care about my case. It was a turning point for me, because I can remember being in county jail, pregnant, giving birth to my son, and writing letters, and then getting to federal prison, being in the education department, typing letters. And it wasn't until God said it was time. But basically when Elaine wrote and then eventually came to visit and basically shared with me that my case was out of where she grew up in the Eastern District of Virginia, and she wanted to make sure her homegirl saw justice. And I felt that, and I think that I really didn't understand all of the inner workings of what was going on, and some of this stuff in the film was hyped up. My mom never, talked to Elaine Jones crazy. I never talked to Elaine Jones crazy. I might have been inquiring in the letter and might have been like, what's going on? But it wasn't until I was writing my book and I went into LDF's New York office, and Elaine, she was sweet and had them bring boxes and boxes from out of the basement. And when I was reading the memos, I was like, oh my gosh, like I had some nerve thinking enough wasn't being done. I was able to see all the resources that were devoted, but it was a miracle for that to happen. But I also understood why it was, because like you said, the fastest growing population within prison were Black women. And I understood that LDF had hoped that my case would set a precedent for other cases. But I will say that you all are about your business and you want to do things the right way. And I remember that from Elaine Jones. And so there was an opportunity where a staff member had actually come up to me because they wanted me to fill out my clemency paperwork. Like they wanted me to write it out. And I remember Elaine telling me we only have one shot at this, and when we do it, it needs to be done right. So I didn't know if it was somebody setting me up or what, but I wanted to make sure that we crossed every T and dotted every I. So it was a miracle for LDF to come on board and support my release.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
Your incarceration will be a deterrent to others and a warning. This is what happens when you make poor decisions in your youth. It is the judgment of the court that the defendant is to be committed hereby to the custody of the United States Bureau of Prisons to be in prison for a term of 294 months.
Ryan! Taylor!
It's 24 and a half.
Please, I can hold him. Can I give her?
Well, Kemba has been such an amazing client, and it has been such an honor to get to work with you. And I actually met Kemba before I joined the Legal Defense Fund when I worked for the White House, and Kemba came and was part of the very first announcement of clemency grants for President Biden. So there's so much that you've done to give back in light of your case, and I wonder if you could share with us what message you hope to send through all the work that you've done following your case.
What were you saying with Biden though? I'm sorry.
So you came to the White House
right.
for our very first grant of clemency under the Biden administration.
Yeah,
so you were an example.
No, you're right.
No, yeah, you were an example of somebody who took that grant of clemency and has made so very much of it and has been such an example and really a leader. And so I just wondered what message that you hope to send in all of the work that you're doing.
It's just still, ever since I was released in 2000, I mean, there was no, criminal justice wasn't the topic to talk about in 2000 when I was released, and there was no formally incarcerated, community. Things have evolved to what it is today. So I was that impacted person that was always, speaking before hearings. What was important for me was you see all these organizations that stood by me and wanted to make sure my case saw justice. And it was really important for me, once those prison doors, for me to still represent those that I left behind in prison. And I have to be fully transparent. Like, Elaine Jones told me that she did not want me publicly speaking out about, my ordeal because I was on probation still. And she was worried about, what kind of consequences, ramifications could happen from me publicly speaking out. But I consciously knew that God wouldn't have opened those prison doors for me just to sit back and be quiet about my ordeal. And so I had a sense of survivor's guilt. Michelle West, who you saw in the film, her character in the film, she's still sitting in prison serving a double life sentence, a double life plus 50-year sentence. And so Milton, when I first met him on set, I told him, that I had Michelle West's necklace that she gave me. And so he was like, oh, we've got to have it, we've got to have this in the film. And I do hope that one day I'm able to give her her necklace back. And so it's been really important for me to advocate for some of those women that I left behind. Danielle Metz, she had a life sentence as well. She was one of the first women that I met while I was incarcerated. She also has a documentary, and her documentary is called Commuted. It's it's been aired on PBS. But I was like ecstatic when President Obama commuted her sentence. But it's just important for me to continue to raise up other women. Because I do feel like oftentimes women are overlooked, and I've been fortunate since the movies come out to do screenings in prisons and jails, and so it's really frustrating. The women look up to me because I'm actually in the prison and I'm giving them hope, but when I get to talk one-on-one with the women and I'm hearing, a woman who was 16 years old messing with a 40-year-old person who was abusive in a criminal lifestyle that led her down a particular path, and she's already been in prison 20 years and still looking at decades. So it's just been really important for me to speak to issues in particular as it revolves around women and girls, but then also to get society to realize the impact on incarceration on families. And understand that there should be some alternatives that we need to look at reforming our criminal justice system.
I want to make sure we offer the audience an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. So if folks have questions, please raise your hand and we can make sure to either get you a mic or have you come up and ask your question.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit HBCUFirstLook.com.
I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles.
I know.
It's time for a new relationship with your skincare. It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
Yes, I see a hand there.
Oh, okay.
My name's Bukala. I went to Spelman, and so there's so much about your story that touched me. And I guess at the end, there was a part of me that was delighted to see that you found a way to trust enough to find a way towards marriage, as well as even, having children, And so just wanted to know more about how this informed your experience as a parent, because I just can't even imagine, I don't have kids, but I just can't even imagine how you make room for that. And then just even how it informed your approach to finding love.
Yeah, so I'm not just somebody that's just talking about it, but therapy has been important for me while I was in. Her mother was my therapist. There were other therapists that work with LDF that came inside, but after I came home, it was important for me to make sure that I sought out therapy. And so I didn't really understood what I missed from not missing out on raising my son from when he was born to 5 years old until my daughter turned 5 years old. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I missed out on all of this. But it was through therapy where I had to nurture and understand my role more, because I didn't get that opportunity to, be that nurturing mom from when he was an infant to a toddler. But basically, I just had to learn to trust, and through therapy, it helped me do that. In my parenting, and this is one of the things, and I have to mention this in Kelly's absence, the director, it was important for me not to cause any additional trauma to my parents or to my son. And in raising him, it was important for him to know the truth about his father's behavior, but I didn't paint his father out to be a total monster, because he wasn't. There are certain things that drug dealers do to lure women in. And so his father was really intelligent. I made sure he knew that. His father loved playing Jeopardy. My son eventually loved playing Jeopardy, but I didn't want him to feel any less of a man because of who his father was. But I appreciate the fact that, number one, this is how God was all in the making of this film. Kelly, we would go back and forth because she went to Howard, I went to Hampton. But she understood the colors and layers to characters. And I didn't want to demonize Khalif, because I needed the audience to understand how I would have gotten caught up with someone. Someone like that. So I appreciated the fact that she understood that. But I shared that because when she was getting ready to go off to Howard, she had a best friend that she grew up with that was supposed to go to Wilberforce. And basically her best friend was good friends with someone from the church, and he would ask her to sign for packages. And eventually one day she signed for a package, and the feds came on rushing into her apartment, and she ended up doing 10 years in the federal system. So Kelly had a best friend that actually had been impacted. So for God to bring a director that understood that to work this film was a blessing in disguise as well. But I hope I answered your question.
No,
but I wanted to make sure I mentioned Kelly and how she could relate to the story, and how that was important as far as how my son's father was portrayed. But like I said, I have a daughter who's 14. So therapy is important, especially in this social media age.
Oh yeah, well, and I'm just imagining them bringing home someone they like, and what you use as the standard of
You just have to hope that you put enough in your child, but the importance of loving themselves. That's one of the things that I highlight in talking to young people across the country, is that you have to love yourself enough to establish goals, standards, what you want out of life, and don't do anything to deter from that track. But when you talk about relationships, I hope that this film can impact, and I always pronounce her name wrong, the Cassies, and my pup, what recently has been in the news, and I can't tell you how many people, women, have heard me speak or read the book, and now hopefully see the film, that say I was in the exact same situation, and because I saw your story, I got out of it. So I do think it's important, where young people don't have to make each and every mistake there is to make in life, that there's enough in media to help guide young people to make sure they don't go down those same paths.
No, thank you for all you do. I've experienced childhood trauma, which is not, the same, but to even sit and watch this, I saw you were sitting and watching this, I don't know if I could watch my life over and over and over.
Well, most of the time I have stopped sitting in the audience, but because I have family here, and I know Tamani hadn't seen the movie, I wanted to sit and actually watch it with her, but I'm doing my neck like this and watching the film, but I understand that trauma is going to impact other people, but there's not a time where I don't watch the film and I don't tear up at some point. But thank you so much.
I just appreciate how you carry yourself.
Thank you.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
LDF was already on this, but it wasn't in a time where criminal justice was the thing. I didn't feel like I could go to my parents. I didn't feel like I could go to authorities, especially after he killed his best friend. I was his girlfriend. I wasn't knowledgeable of his business dealings. I was no threat to public safety. Being pregnant while incarcerated and not being able to physically touch, hold, smell, feel him after I gave birth to him, it's something, a trauma that is kind of indescribable.
This issue transcends poverty. You know, it transcends orders and community. You can be middle class as you want to be. Home paid for, 10 bedrooms or whatever. And have your child be in the same position Kimber was in. We know that there are serious issues here, but we also know we can make a difference.
The perfect plaintiff can help us see race more clearly, because it shows that even when you have the perfect life, when you have the two-parent household, when you have the middle-class upbringing, the economic wherewithal, you can still wind up in the crosshairs of the criminal justice system.
Do we have any additional questions from the audience? Yes, please come down.
And as you're coming down, I have a high school classmate. Jennifer, weren't we debutantes together? Yeah, so she remembers those debutante moments. And I feel like, and Lori in the back, her daughter and my daughter grew up at Miss Beth's house in Indianapolis when we lived there. Thank you, Lori, for coming. My cousin Cerelia, thank you so much. My mom will be so proud of these AKAs. Okay, thank you so much for your question.
Hi, my name is Naima Thompson. I'm a recent college graduate from GSU, Georgia State University, and
congratulations.
Thank you. So in my last semester of college, I took a women, gender, and sexuality course that we kind of highlighted the injustices of like women. Sorry, I'm nervous. But like, after taking that course, because I knew nothing about the whole ordeal that was showcased in the film, I wanted to know like, what can we do as like regular people on the outside? Not to say that people on the inside aren't normal, but like, what can we do to like help bring advocacy and awareness to what's going on in the legal system that, you know, hinders women of color and girls of color as well?
Thank you so much for your question. And number one, there has been an impact campaign that goes along with the film. And if you go on representjustice.org, you can see the things that you can do. But one of the things that I've been suggesting is hosting screenings across the country and having panel discussions where you can bring in experts to talk about some of these particular issues or talk about your experience with your class and what you learned and how you wanted to bring the film to you know, a particular community. Also too, I'm talking about Michelle West, but there is a clemency campaign, and you all should have received a flyer that was handed out, but basically we're advocating for President Biden to commute Michelle West's sentence. So if you want to sign on to that petition, there's a QR code that's on the back of the page where you can electronically sign on. But not only just Michelle West, we want President Biden to commute other women's sentences that have experienced intimate partner violence, and also governors across the country to do the same. But more importantly, not more importantly, just as important, is to hold your elected officials accountable, making sure that they have legislative policies that won't cause any additional harm, where we can begin to start unraveling some of the harm that's been created. I mean, there's states across the country that have mandatory minimum sentences. One of the things that I had the opportunity that was put in the credits was that I served on the Virginia Parole Board. Governor Northam appointed me in 2019, and with the movie, what I'm hoping is that it will humanize people who are incarcerated, because oftentimes when someone is paroled or granted a pardon, society wants to focus on who that person was years ago, decades ago, versus who that person is today. And I think it's up to us as a community to highlight, because they're formerly incarcerated people across the country who are leading criminal justice work. So if it is something that you want to do within your own community, I would strongly encourage you to make sure that you have somebody who's formerly incarcerated that can help guide you through that process too.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any comment?
I think we have time for just one more question, so I want to make sure we get one more question.
And while you're asking your question, and I know maybe I should do this later, you all need to know too, though, in the movie, Elaine Jones, when she said, if every woman chose the wrong man, everybody would get behind bars. She actually said that in a meeting with the producers, and Kelly was just like, oh my gosh, we need to write this down. And so she incorporated it in the film. But LDF, Janae Nelson, Tona, I'm still tremendously grateful for your input. And in my mind, I don't know if I've told you this, but and I'm grateful for Alice Johnson, I'm grateful for Kim Kardashian, Van Jones, all of what various people are doing in this criminal justice space. But I was like, I need for people to know that LDF was doing this back in the 90s and wanted to make an impact. So thank you.
Thank you.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The 2024 HBCU First Look Film Festival and Challenge is here. Join us this November 8th through 10th at Howard University for amazing film screenings, enlightening workshops, celebrity guest appearances, internship opportunities, and more. Submit your film by August 28th for a chance to win a cash prize and internship opportunity. Secure your stay with our hotel packages at the Residence Inn by Marriott. For more information, visit HBCUFirstLook.com.
I Know Skincare guides you through your unique skin conditions, sensitivities, and challenges as it matures through life's transformation. I Know provides highly effective skincare products with natural ingredients formulated to offer solutions and deliver effective moisturizing results, giving your skin the hydration it needs while reducing the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles.
I know.
It's time for a new relationship with your skincare. It's time to embrace you, your melanin-rich skin, and its unique beauty needs.
When you get over the age of 50, you definitely have to start using things on your skin.
I Know is made specifically to address maturing skin conditions. All of the I Know products provide highly effective natural ingredients dedicated to delivering proven results.
The best advice my mother gave me, take care of your skin now so to take care of you later.
I Know, your beauty solution for maturing skin.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
Hi, my name is Yolanda Williams. I'm with Girl Track, the National Field Director for incarcerated and formerly incarcerated women. And I met you at Free Her.
Andrea, my girl.
Yes. Oh, that's your girl. Yep,
Yes,
your girl.
yep, she's my girl.
My question is, and the answer may be simply don't quit, but there's so many advocacies and organizations and think women as yourself doing documentaries. How do you not quit? Because as I watch the film, and just in life in general, if we don't see evidence, then we get discouraged and we get tired. And this has been a fight that we have been forever, especially when it comes to women and injustice. So how do we not quit? How do we keep going? You know, I hear this, I've heard Michelle West's story and been advocating and signing petitions for a while. Like, it's like, it don't make no sense. Why you can't hear us? What do we need to do to make them hear us and how we don't quit?
Thank you. What's your name again? Yolanda. Yolanda, thank you so much. And thank you for the work that you do. She was speaking about the Free Her rally. My friend Andrea James, she's head over the National Council of Incarcerated and Formerly Incarcerated Women and Girls. They had a Free Her rally in DC. It was the 10-year anniversary. They have a rally every year. They also have a Free Her conference every year that centers women who've been formerly incarcerated. Andrea showed me, I want to say last fall, or maybe it was 2 years ago, that healing is an ongoing process, because she had a retreat for some of us, you know, that are doing this work and have done it for a while. And I knew then that with some of the exercises that we were doing, that I wasn't fully healed, and I probably never will be. But with the fact that we do have this trauma-informed leadership, because we've been through these experiences, it's just really important when you feel like you want to quit, that you take a step back. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I have moments where I'm tired. You know, Michelle was one of the first people to tell me that I was gonna be released from prison. And for it to be 30 years later, the prison where she was in, as you probably already know, got shut down for sexual abuse. So she got picked up, moved to Minnesota, and her daughter's in California, and it's just traumatic. That whole experience is traumatic. So actually, I found out she had gotten moved to Minnesota, went to Free Her rally, spoke at 3 prisons within a week and a half: the Ohio Reformatory for Women, a federal prison, Carswell for women, and FCI Coleman, which is one of the largest male FCI facilities. And I met head of BMF, Big Meech, in Coleman. But hearing everybody's stories, and then also on the flip side, working for the government and seeing people and voting for people to come out that have served decades, that have learned, changed behaviors and everything, no longer a threat to society. It's daunting some of the time, you know, but so is slavery. And so I think it's important that we tap into some of that, because I know that's what kept me strong when I was in prison, because it made me look at the overall bigger picture of injustice. But, you know, going to Montgomery, to the EJI Legacy Museum, I saw a replica of that somewhere here in the library. But once you tap into that and you look and hear what our ancestors did, then you just like, okay, take a deep breath. I mean, and you've been doing this, Janae, Elaine, but I remember at the dinner, they had an awards dinner in New York, and Ted Shaw, who's in the movie, he was honored, but Elaine was saying we need to make sure we take care of ourselves. When we're in this work, that's what's important, so you can just keep going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that question. And thank you all for being here. I think it's so important that we have moments like this to reflect, and especially Kimba, thank you for so powerfully sharing your story. I think it can be really hard sometimes to find a place to draw from to do the work and to continue to do the work. But I'm really moved by something that you said, which is I think we have to look back to the past as well. And this year we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of Brown versus Board of Education. That was a case that was masterminded by Thurgood Marshall and a number of powerful LDF attorneys back in the 40s and 50s. And you can imagine what the world looked like then and the work that they had to do to make the changes that got us to where we are today. It could have seemed insurmountable, but it wasn't, because they continued the fight, and I think that's what we have to do. And I'm so grateful to you for all that you're doing and continue to do, and thanks to everybody for coming and joining us, and I hope you all will continue the work as well. So thank you. Thank you.
If I would have stayed on time,
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers. The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.
All right, so my name is Kashmir Miller. I'm from Wyandanch, New York. I've been living in Atlanta, though, for the past 18, 19 years. This film impacted me so much because as a middle schooler, I went on a field trip with Milton L. Olive Middle School to visit Kimba while she was incarcerated. And so ever since then, you know, I always wondered about her, but honestly, as I became an adult, I always kept her story in the back of my mind, which impacted me in my relationships later in life. And so when the film came out, it's an amazing film. I loved it, but I was so happy to see that her full circle moment for her being incarcerated and meeting her and then having this film to just get her story out to the whole world.
So what did you learn from this film?
It taught me about the advocacy and how important it is.
Hello, I'm Shaquita Lockley, and I'm the board chair for Black Women Film Network. And we were so excited to get the opportunity to partner for the screening of Kimba and the talkback. And I remember actually when I was at Spelman my sophomore, junior year, we did a letter writing campaign. So when I was watching the film and they're talking about the letter writing campaign, I actually was part of the letter writing campaign. It was one of the things we did as a service project through my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. So just watching all the women in the film and remembering like I was actually alive and doing this work, it's just phenomenal. And to see that the advocacy on the backside of it, that even over 20 years later, Kimba is still doing the work. So this was just phenomenal to participate in.
Thank you. So you did this in conjunction with the HBCU First Look Film Festival, and thank you so much for that. How important is it, do you feel, opportunities and careers, networking is for HBCU students? You went to Spelman, and you know, we share a love as HBCU alum. How important is it for things like this for our students and to understand how important it is to tell our stories?
When I look, or not just me, when we look at entertainment in general, when we look at the space of entertainment, we look at the margins, and that's where you will find people who look like me. So we don't always have the networks that other people might have if they went to schools like a USC or NYU. No shade to them because they're fantastic institutions, but we just have to. If they went to schools like NYU or USC, which are fantastic institutions, but we don't always have those networks. So when we have like the HBCU Film Festival, that is incredible because we didn't have it when I was coming up. When I went to Spelman, we didn't even have documentary majors, and now we do. So when I look in general of, so when we take a moment to look at where we are versus where we were 20 years ago, it is exactly organizations like these that keep us moving forward. And this is our good old boy network. That is why it's important that we show up to festivals that target us, that we connect with people, that we go to the mixers. All of it is important because networking, that business card, we don't have business cards anymore, but your business card, that is what gets you in the door. And the person you're with today, that's the person who's greenlighting tomorrow. When you know that person or that person's friend or that person's sorority member or fraternity member, it just helps you a little quicker to get your foot in the door.
So there's a myth about it. There's a myth that everyone who is incarcerated has done something wrong. Now, can you talk about that myth, and especially when it comes to Black women, and how important it is this movie is to dispel that myth?
One thing that I noticed with this movie is that, yes, we commit crimes, but we commit crimes, but what people tend to overlook is who we really are. I saw women that were locked up with Kimba, and Kimba herself showing compassion, showing honesty, showing just a whole nother side. She didn't portray the person that the crime and the judges made her look like. You look at Michelle West, upstanding, helping other inmates. And because they see what the stipulation is or what the law says, it tends to overlook who the person really is. We don't get to shine and show who we really are until we get out. And we have to fight society for the stigma versus who we really are.
So can you tell us, what can people do? What is the most important thing that the public, other Black women can do to support our sisters incarcerated?
To support the women incarcerated, continue to show up, continue to be the voice. My question to her was, how do we not quit? We just keep going, because that's the only way we can be heard, is to be the voice for those that are incarcerated. Stop the stigma. Show them who we really are. We have a second chance, and a lot of women that come out of prison, we take advantage of that second chance because we've wasted so many years being incarcerated. Prison not only take our life, but it takes years off of our life expectancy. So, yeah, that's what I would say.
The Let's Talk series with Hollywood movers and shakers.